think we're up on everything now.
Facebook's good.
Instagram's up. All right, yeah, we're good.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 034 Motorsport Zero Bullshit Q&A live chat session. I'm Javad Shadzi, and this is Nate Stewart, and we're here to answer all your questions about all things 034. Are we up and running on everything?
Yep, everything's up,
and sure.
including the audio.
Anything about 034 Motorsport, anything about our products, services, our history, our philosophy, if you like us, if you hate us, please let us know. We don't engage with trolling, so if you want to troll us, we'll just ignore you and probably block you from the social media feed. But we do love having constructive and productive conversations with anyone about anything. We are deprioritizing update questions, so if you want to know when something's going to be done or if we're going to do something or when something's going to be ready, we will deprioritize those, and please don't get offended. It's not because we don't like you, it's just because we want to respond to topical questions where we can definitively add something versus kind of guessing at when something will be ready is not always the most productive thing. Did I miss anything?
Just we have questions coming in from multiple platforms. So if you see questions, or we're answering questions you don't see on whatever media you're viewing it on, it's from one of those other sources. So don't worry, we're trying to get to them all.
And I promise we're not on Grindr. This is just all the questions come into this phone and to his laptop. So that's where we and Grindr in the background for sure. All right, well, we got questions rolling in, so we'll start jumping on some of these. Someone asks, have you ever considered offering an even stiffer rear sway bar for the B9 S5 so that aggressive drivers can use your front sway bar and still have a lively rear end? Well, that's kind of what we've already done. So if you look at the B9 sway bar options, there's just a rear bar, and then we have the front and rear bar package. The rear bar that's included with the front bar package is bigger and stiffer than the rear bar only option. So we are already doing that, but you can always go stiffer. We could also make a softer front bar, something that's softer than stock. But we do have adjustability, and you can create a softer front bar and the stiffest rear bar, and that's gonna be pretty aggressive. So if you haven't tried that, I would give that a try. It just becomes an issue when you have too much rear bar. You got to keep in mind sway bars aren't a total free lunch, and so what a sway bar does is it connects the left and right suspension, and it reduces the independentness of each suspension side. The bar, which can only twist if the left and right suspension move in opposite directions, resists the left and right suspensions from doing anything different than each other. So you could have the world's most infinite stiff sway bar, and if all you did was go over speed bumps all day, nothing would happen. But if you hit a bump or a pothole on the left side, and let's say you hit and you're smooth on the right side, that bar has to twist. And the stiffer that rear bar is, the less the suspension can move. So at some point, whatever you hit on the left side will also impact the right side, because they become more and more connected the stiffer the bar gets. So we have to take all that stuff into account, and the sway bar stiffness and the properties of the sway bar are such that we balance out all these different factors. So we're looking at reducing body roll as much as possible while still maintaining the independentness of the suspension, and creating a balance between the front and rear under cornering, braking, or lifting conditions that is relatively smooth and predictable, and not snap oversteer, unpredictable, or anything like that. So hopefully that's a good explanation. On the racetrack, you can do a lot more with the with sway bars, because most racetracks are pretty smooth. Some race car sway bars are just 1.5 inch like DOM tubes. You know, they basically don't twist.
Yeah, we used to run similar on our race cars,
Yeah.
and we would have blades on the end that we could really dramatically change the profile of the sway bar with those blades.
I think you've answered this before, but what is the widest tire plus spacer combo that you can fit under the B9 S4? These questions are always tough because it just depends. There's so many different variables. You have different wheels, different tires, different offsets. However,
tire sizing, keep in mind, does not, like the numbers on the tire when you're pushing the limits and really dialing in fit. The numbers are a suggestion as to basically the overall diameter and width of the tire, but you really have to look at the specific section widths and then actually the physical tire itself generally once it gets there, if you're getting tired.
Yeah. But according to the team, basically if you're running our ZTF R1 forged 19 by 9.3 ET35 wheel, a 265/35/19 fits perfectly flush, no spacers needed. Or if you run our ZTF LP01 flow form 19 by 9.3 ET38, 265/35/19, perfectly flush, no spacers needed. So if you use our wheels, you don't need spacers. Now there's every other wheel on the market and every other option, but as you can see, you can run a lot of tire. That's a nice amount of tire with no spacers. This is an update question, but I'll tackle this one. Can we expect Burble control via 034 SPI app for 3.0T B9,
The crackles.
B9.5 generation, adjustable crackles? Possibly. Stay tuned for some news and updates about this moving forward. We don't want to say too much, but we do have some exciting stuff on the horizon. Same thing with someone was asking about rolling anti-lag.
Flex fuel, anti-lag.
Flex fuel. All late stage in the works. Do you sell spare parts for your drop links? Mine are toast. We do offer rebuild kits on our website, so go check those out. If you don't see what you need, please email. I believe you can email sales@034motorsport.com, and they could. We can sell you any subcomponents of any product that we sell. Might not be listed on the website, but we have a process to do that.
So they're saying tech support app.
Well, I know it's not tech support. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why they said that. It's a sales. You could buy the parts. It's available. Hope you guys are good. A question for Javad, if I may. What audio manufacturer gives the best sound in car audio? I like Dynaudio and Focal. You know, I don't do a ton of car audio these days. I do a lot of home audio stuff. But I would be definitely looking at anything from Dynaudio or Focal, anything from ScanSpeak. I hear about Helix a lot. I don't know, specifically, but I'll be honest with you. I think how the system is tuned is more important than what components you run. Whether it's Morel, Dynaudio, ScanSpeak, Focal, it's all good stuff. Like, you're gonna get good high resolution sound, low distortion from any of those drivers, but how the DSP is tuned, how the drivers are implemented, their locations, their positions, just like when it comes to automotive tuning, which parts you're running is one thing, but how are the parts tuned? How do they work together? How is the system developed to achieve a certain type of result, or in car audio, a certain type of response? So, if my recommendation would be spend a little bit less money on the parts, spend more time and energy on the setup, the tuning, the calibration of the sound, how the system's installed. Those are the things that are really going to make the most difference. You could draw an analogy too with like food. Steak's not always going to taste better than chicken. Depends who cooks it. So you can have an overdone, dried out steak or a perfectly cooked chicken breast. It's going to depend on how you do it. Have you guys had any known issues with the TTE 710 at altitude in Colorado? I've been working with your team to try to figure out why my 710 isn't building boost last 11 to 13 psi, past 11 to 13 psi, and I've tried 2 turbos.
No, we don't have any known issues.
No, not that we know of.
No, I don't. I'll have to see. I don't know how far along or where you're at with our support crew, but that sounds like something that should be bumped up to our level 2 support to take a look at. So if you haven't, maybe ping whoever it is you're communicating with and just ask if level 2 can take a look at it and say Nate said so.
Yeah.
But chances are it's on its way there. If you've been in the system for a little bit, trying to work with them.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Keep working with support. We are not aware of anything like that. Someone's saying, I don't understand why we can't ask questions about upcoming products. You can, and as you maybe have seen, we have answered some of them, but we just don't want to spend the entire hour guessing at when things are going to be ready. So, when is some product being released? We don't have an answer for that. So, we could guess, we can kind of tell you, but
And it's almost never a straight path. Like there's always our best intentions when we're planning on something and we're like really close to it, and then you'll get this curveball that just derail. We'll get the curve. Yeah, when I say you, it's us figuratively, but that'll just derail the thing for an unbelievably long amount of time with a myriad of reasons that you had no intention of having to deal with coming into it. So it's really tough forecasting the future.
Yeah, and nobody else does. I mean, none of our competitors are out there
the
saying...
product just drops when it drops, and they may have been ready to, or thought they were ready to release it 2 years ago, and it didn't drop for another 2 years because of who knows what. But yeah, we're just very open about what we're doing a lot of the time, so I think that puts us in a different position in the public view.
But you're asking about our upcoming Stage 2 Plus Q7 tune. It's currently heavily being worked on, and we don't have a release date, but we are finalizing it. We're beta testing. We're going through all the things, so it's coming soon. Please don't crucify us if it doesn't feel like it's coming soon in a month and we still haven't released it. But our goal is to release it as soon as possible, but we have to go through all the testing and the validation and make sure that it's a tune that you want and we're willing to stand behind and put our name on. Mr. Stuebner says, awesome to see you two again.
Is that Mrs. Tuebner or Mr. Stuebner?
Oh, it could be Mrs. Tuebner. I would like the thought of Mrs. Tuebner liking to see us. Maybe she's a MILF. I don't know. I don't know who Mr. Tuebner is, though. Let us know who you are. Always. Or if you're a MILF, please let me know. Let's see. I just launched my B9.5 Stage 1 SQ5 for the first time the other day, and it gave me vertigo sensation. It was a very weird sensation. Yeah, if you're not used to that or you never felt it before, it is a shocking amount of acceleration and not bad for an SQ5.
No, it's a sensation that's very hard to explain too, because it is I don't know if I call it vertigo-y, but it's almost tunnel vision inducing. Like when you get into a car that you're not expecting or you've never felt like 1 G plus of acceleration, you'll get your brain does weird things if you're not acclimated to it.
Yeah. But I'm glad to hear there's a lot more there too, if you keep going up the stages. Question number 1, I'm not sure.
It says they commented it fits. But yeah, I'm not sure either.
Someone says, I'm hearing a lot of conflicting reports on the fitment of the X34 4-inch carbon fiber closed-top cold air intake system on the AY RS3. Do you plan on updating the fitment for the AY? It actually does fit. There's nothing conflicting. I think if you go to our website, you should see that intake listed for your application.
I was just about to confirm that. Yeah, it's on there.
Yeah.
Yep, they're all listed under the fitment.
Yep. You see it?
It's on right here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure who said what, but anyways. What tire size do you recommend for 19-inch rims on a 2021 S4 looking for increased traction and better cornering?
We just answered this.
Yeah, 265, 35, 19 if you run our ZTF wheels, or 19 by 9.3. That's a lot of tire for your average sedan at all four corners. Does the 034 SPI work for the 8Y RS3? No, not currently. We do not offer any 8Y RS3 tunes at this time.
Yep.
Something that I'm sure we'll get to eventually, but there's just too many other big important projects.
Yeah, the app. I mean, the app itself will work in the fact that
Yeah.
you can like check fault codes and identify things and
Yeah.
communicate with your controllers, but we don't have anything to load on them that's any more fun right now.
Hey guys, is it possible to reduce the bangs on stage 1 tune for an SQ5 B9? I live in Germany and the police is a pain in the ass.
We can do no crackle files, but you can also just put it in comfort or individual
Yeah,
mode and turn
comfort
off the
mode.
crackles. Like
Yeah. But if
that's all selectable.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you want, you can contact us to turn off crackles. Tuning at 034 Motorsports.
The B9, thankfully, is very configurable in that
Yeah.
regard, though, so you should be able to shut them off.
Yeah, you can do an individual
That's how we were
setting,
running.
yeah. Someone's asking, B9 S5, how often should we clean our S34 intake? I think on average we recommend every 30,000 miles for optimal performance. That's just for average driving, say like in a city environment. If you live on a farm or a desert and there's a lot of haboobs, you probably will need to clean your intake more often, maybe even weekly or daily. If you actually do experience a haboob environment, I would say a filter sock is probably a good idea too. But any intake's gonna have trouble in that environment. But yeah, about every 30,000 miles, I don't know, once a year, if you really like pampering your car, we do sell the cleaning kit on our website. It has instructions in there. Please don't hate me, but I really need anti-lag for my B9 RS5. Okay, well, we got something coming. You can also left foot brake.
That's, yep.
So
available for a
don't
long
wait.
time.
Don't wait for anti-lag. Just left foot brake.
Yep, you can fully load it up.
Yeah. If you haven't left foot broken, I recommend it. Give that a try first. Let us know what you think. 2014 B8.5 S4. My 1 to 2, 2 to 3 feels weird. Sometimes there's a delay. I don't have any mounts besides an ECS mount on the transmission. That's a 3-minute job. I have a stage 1 training engine tune with you guys on my B9 S4. Have changed the engine mounts and did an adaptation, but it does the same thing after a few hundred kilometers. Well, you could always contact our tuning support and do some logs.
Yeah, stuff like that that's subjective is really tough to nail down sometimes. Maybe, oof. 1, 2, 2, 3. Weird. I don't know if it's light load or full load. Yeah. Contact support. Just give us as much info as you can and try and isolate as tightly as possible when it's happening or what you feel isn't quite right. And then also, is it different behavior than you're seeing in the stock file? Because you can just flash the stock file back on, go for a drive, and see if you're getting the same sensations, especially if it's light load stuff.
Yeah. Do you guys see higher oil consumption in the CREC 3.0 TQ7s? Even stock-eyed issues, but not sure if you are aware of a common cause. A ton of people say a barium and piston soak helps. Yeah, I think any of those kind of seafoam or barium and piston cleaner.
Yeah.
It can't hurt. I mean, it's not a bad
it's
idea.
it's pretty involved to do it right. You've really got to spend
Yeah.
some time, pull things apart, get each cylinder soaking. But yeah, I mean, if you've got crudded up rings, that's more to free up a stuck or sticky like oil control ring more than anything.
I've driven for 4 years now on and off a CREC, and I've Q7, and I have not really had much oil consumption issues. I would say I've had to add a little bit of oil every every few months, which is pretty normal for any car. I had a 996 turbo once that I would have to top it off like almost every week. You know, it was constantly, and that's normal for those cars. So I think, you know, Audi has a consumption spec that is pretty aggressive, but from their point of view, it's not a big deal. You just add oil when you need it. So if you want to try to address it, but Audi has had some challenges getting their piston rings right over the last 10-15 years. I would say it really kind of started in the, I don't know, B6, B7 era. There was the B6s had that piston. They had an actual recall from the factory. A lot of, I mean, going back, the 30 valve V6s had a lot of oil consumption issues.
I think that was just oil falling out of the motor issues. Like, it came out of every spot it could, and it didn't like staying in there.
Yeah, but if you're having to top it up, add a little bit of oil every 5,000 miles or something like
I guess
you're good.
That's the big question: is what kind of a usage consumption rate are you talking about here?
I'll just say adding oil between oil changes is pretty normal. It's a regular normal thing that all cars need. So I think there's an expectation out there that engines should not burn any oil, they shouldn't consume any oil, and that you should just be able to do an oil change, drive 15,000 miles, do another oil change. That's pretty unrealistic. It could be that you can get away with that, you know, with a Honda Civic or, you know, something like that. I don't know. Toyota Camry or something. But most of the German cars do consume a little bit of oil, and that's totally normal.
Excuse me. And a lot of the Camrys and Civics and the base model stuff too, they don't even tell you when your oil's low for one. So a lot of the times you'll get to the oil change interval 10, 15,000 miles, and you're a quart down.
That's right.
It's just...
It is nice being told that you need to add some oil. Recently, usually when the car tells me it needs like a half a quart. It's not much. It's really a small amount. Someone's congratulating 034 and Josh Marshall from Canada for achieving another world record with the 034 team. 10:35 at 131 in his A6 3.0T.
Yep,
stock 3.0T.
He's cooking.
That's really fast for an A6. Congrats, Josh, and great to see you out there doing cool stuff.
Yeah, we've been working. It'll be good to see. He said he's gonna post up a video and some other info about it. So looking forward to see it.
He had like I think I saw 1.5 60 foot.
Yeah, 151. He posted a shot of the the drag slip.
Yeah. So I mean that's what we always talk about is that fast ETs you got to get out of the hole fast. You know, if he had run a 1.6 or a 1.7 60 foot, he wouldn't be anywhere near that time. That ET.
But that's a heck of a trap speed too for that car. It's
quick all around. What was the trap speed?
131.
Yeah, that's quick. Very good. B9.5 RS5 with a stage 1 tune, 93 octane. At what IATs does the tune begin to pull timing, reduce power? What IAT should I be targeting for optimal performance?
All of them. So this is the thing. It's not a switch.
Well, I think he's asking when does it go into component
if it goes into like a component protection, there are some harder cuts. IAT on that's probably high 70s, 80 degrees C range, but there are IAT compensations that are happening real time all the time. There's no such thing as just like this is a timing map, and then bam, it hits a threshold, and this is the other timing map. It's going to be adjusting timing, load, boost, everything all the time based on air temps. Whether it's 20 degrees C or 50 degrees C, you're going to have different load numbers, different timing numbers, different boost levels, just because it's maintaining both the density of air inside the chamber and also accounting for how it has to manage that, the volatility of the charge based on air temps and fuel and octane and all that. So it's always moving, and generally speaking, as the cooler the better. There is no, within the real world here, there's no too cold essentially for air temps.
Yeah, keep in mind there's a timing map. In these ECUs, there's lots of them.
Lots of them.
But in general, as temperature increases, timing goes down.
Yep.
So the amount of advance reduces as temperature goes up. And that's built into the tuning of all ECUs, not just these cars. If you tune a Motec or a Holtec or a Mega Squirt or a Max ECU, there's a timing map in there, and it's going to come preloaded with a base file that reduces ignition timing as temperature increases. That's just how timing maps work. So to Nate's point, the lower you can keep air temps, the more timing you'll have, the more power you'll make.
And it's a double-edged sword too, because you've got both your fuel, your mixture gets more volatile because of the air temps, but you also have less air. You've got hotter air in there, which is a less dense charge.
Yes.
So you've got less energy to even burn in the best situation. So
Right.
Ideally, the cooler, the more dense air you can get in there, the better. Your turbo's working less. Everything's working less to get the same or more power.
Yeah, that's right. It's not just a timing issue. It's also there's just less fuel because
And your energy
hot
density
air is less dense. Is it possible to tune a bone stock car reliably? Well, I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
It sounds like an oxymoron.
very much depends on the car, but in our world, yes, all the stuff we've got stage 1 files for have been tested.
But what does that mean? If it's bone stock, it's not.
It's
tuned.
not tuned, so yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't understand the question.
Maybe it goes back to the radio question.
We could guess what you're trying to mean, but if you want to clarify,
Yeah.
if you're saying is it safe to do tuning on a
Otherwise
on a
stock
vehicle
engine.
with a stock engine? Yeah, absolutely is, but it's not clear like what that question is. So. On a B9.5, what plug gap do you recommend for stage 1 through 3, E85, 91, 93, or does it differ? Thanks for all your team does for the community. You're welcome. So officially, we recommend our Brisk 2 MOER 08 IR plugs. That's our new iridium plug that is made for us by Brisk. We recommend 0.023 to 0.025 inch gap for stage 1, regardless of fuel. Service interval of 10 to 25,000 miles, depending on usage. Is the plug gap different for stage 3?
No, we don't generally tighten it up.
Okay, yeah.
We honestly don't find the need to play with gap all that much on these
Yeah.
motors, thankfully.
We list .015 to.
It can get tighter, but I don't know that we've ever had to.
If you're having misfires, you could go tighter.
You can
but-
tighten it up a little bit, but
Yeah. Thoughts on 8V Magride on track? It's great.
it works pretty well.
Yeah. The 8V factory suspensions with our springs work very well. Those cars had nice dampers from the factory. Will you guys ever touch BMW tuning? We are working on it. We probably don't have a full-fledged BMW tuning assault in the works, but we are currently working on releasing and making available tunes and calibrations for some of the older BMWs. What generation is that?
Oh, F series.
F series stuff. So we may release more of that in the future. We are so busy with Volkswagen Audi tuning and calibrations that we just don't have the bandwidth to do a lot more outside that. So, but we'd love to. Yes, we'd love to do more. We'll see how things go. Will there be a file for B9 MPI solution to work without a built motor, or do I just throw pistons and rods and mitigate the potential of a piston skirt issue?
Those are two very different questions. MPI is its own solution.
Yes, and MPI will not address the piston issue on its own.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're serious about tuning and getting power out of a B9 3.0T, you're going to want rods and pistons and 11 mil head studs.
Yep.
You're going to need those three things at the minimum. I would say pistons at the bare minimum, but if it would be stupid to just do that, not do rods as well. So
And I mean, if you're trying to do it just as a preemptive measure, I don't think I would dig into that level. It's
Yeah, or I would get a spare motor.
Yeah.
You know, and build that, and then you could swap it in a weekend. But no need to take your car down. Just over the potential of the piston skirt issue. The piston issue is relatively rare. We hear a lot about it, but if you look at functional percentages of cars affected, it's in the single digit % range at this point. So still quite rare. And we don't, though we feel like we know what the problem is now. We don't know which cars will or won't have it. That's not clear yet. We'd love to try to figure that out, but it appears that it's one of 2 different piston suppliers that are used. It sounds like the problematic pistons are much more rarely used than the good Molly pistons, but at this point we don't have a way to know which cars have it. I also have a stage 1 with you guys on my RS5 2022 Sportback. Brake boosting has me scared for the axles. What's the consensus?
You're not making any more torque at the axles than you are
No.
accelerating anyway. There's no difference there. You're not making more torque and putting it through the axles that you're not already doing. Like a full acceleration pull is going to put the same or more torque depending on what gear you're in. I mean, a first gear, the amount of torque on the axle in first gear on a stock calibration is going to be orders of magnitude higher than what you're going to be doing while on the road rolling and brake boosting.
Yeah.
Like many times higher amount more torque. So
We've never heard of a axle failure or any kind of failure associated with brake boosting. So yeah, and at these power levels, you can push through the brakes
depending on stage 1, you can probably be okay. But yeah, it depends where you are at the rev range and what gear you're in.
Yeah, and you shouldn't need to brake boost that hard,
it's just getting the turbo up on high. And
yeah, you just need a little bit of resistance, a little bit of load to get the turbo spooled up, and then you're off. And if you're sitting on the brakes for 15, 20 seconds,
right, those are going to get hot, but the axles are the least, let's say, at least stressed in that whole situation.
Yeah. Is it okay to drive in sport mode all the time? ZF8 034 tuned.
Is there another way?
I mean, if you can handle all the sex you're getting, you're probably going to be fine, because when those girls hear that popping and banging,
the extra snappy shift,
your car's not going to be the only thing banging. Let me tell you. No, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with sport mode. It's just a little snappier and more lively than comfort mode.
There's absolutely no difference in peak engine load or any kind of like wear considerations in any way. No, it's all totally fine.
Have you seen those like reels of like what guys think women will do when they hear their loud exhaust?
Yeah.
They're so funny.
Yeah, that started. I feel like that started way back with like a motorcycle, like a loud like Harley or whatever, and it was just like people in all the windows looking out, like, or he thinks that's what people are looking out, like, what they think of him.
Just like women ripping off their blouses, running towards the street. Can't decide between a B9 S5 coupe and an 8V RS3. I've heard mixed things, but how much of a gap in performance is there between the two, especially when both tuned? Both are highly tunable. Yeah. Both can be made very fast and powerful. They're very different cars. The RS3s are great. They're cool, but they don't have the same kind of quality and refinement built in to them like an Audi does.
Well, they're an Audi, but the bigger chassis,
like a real Audi, like a B9 or something like that. Audi. The RS3 is an MQB platform car.
That's the biggest.
And it's an Audi, but it feels more like a Volkswagen MQB, because that's what it is. It's a badass, very powerfully built and tuned Golf R or Volkswagen GTI, with all-wheel drive. So if you're looking for just this raw performance car that's not as refined, that's smaller, RS3 is probably for you if you're looking for that kind of more refined, good build quality, better fit and finish, less NVH, just more solid car, then I would go the B9 route. Both can be very fast. Both are very fun. Both are very tunable. You can easily get both to 500-600 horsepower. The tuning potential of both is relatively similar. I mean, if you want to go crazy with the RS3, you can do a lot more at this point because that car has been on the market for like 10 years. The B9s, we're just starting to do built motors and big turbos and stuff like that. So, and if you want 1,000 horsepower, now the RS3 is going to be quicker and easier to get there, but
still not easy or cheap, but
no, not cheap
But yeah,
it's doable, not easy.
Yeah, they're very different vehicles. So you really got to figure out what it is you want. The S5 is going to drive. It's a much more traditional all-wheel drive system. It drives very differently.
Yeah.
It's much more. It feels like an all-wheel drive car at all times. The RS3 is much more front-wheel drive forward, where it's very potent, but much more front-wheel drive feeling vehicle from the start. So you've got to do a lot of work on it to get it to not feel quite like that all the time.
Yeah. I would say go drive both and
Yeah.
see what you think. But as far as tunability and power,
Both are very
both will get to stage 3 power levels, and both can do 10-second quarter miles, stuff like that. There's also, you're talking about the coupe. There's also the S4 sedan. There's a fastback. There's some different options too. Would you guys recommend your extended tie rods if I have your guys' ball joints and camber plates for my KW Clubsports? So the extended tie rods are really only required when you have our RCO control arms and ball joints together, and you're pushing out the camber pretty far. Then you're gonna need the extended tie rod. We did design the tie rods to get close to, on the low end stock length. So if you feel like getting new tie rods and you think you might want more camber in the future, then they're a good way to go. But you won't need them right now unless you have the RCO control arm and ball joint and our RCO.
Well, I'm trying to think too. The Clubsports on those, I think you got a pretty big range of camber coming
those
in.
have adjustable on top.
So that actually brings the whole package inboard more, which negates the need for the extended.
Yeah, so that should
tie
help.
rod. So yeah, it's just going to depend on your geometry and if you really need it or not. I would, if you're worried about it, set it up your alignment up as you want it now, and fully unthread both of your tie rod ends and just see what your engagement looks like. Should be at least 1.5 times the diameter of the thread for maximum engagement.
Thoughts on 8Y Magride versus GTI Golf R adaptive struts? I don't necessarily have an opinion. I don't know. We've driven both, and both are nice. I don't know.
I don't have enough seat time in either to draw that conclusion.
This is also tough. Someone's asking Continental Extreme Contact DWSOX Plus tires versus Michelin Pilot Sports 4s all season. Which one to go for? I don't necessarily have an opinion.
Yeah.
Those are both good tires.
Great all-season tires, both of them. Yeah.
Should I install front or rear sway bar first on my Mark 8 GTI? You could do either or just do them both. I don't know why you wouldn't just do that. But if you do the front bar, it's not gonna. It's just gonna corner flatter in the front. You'll feel that. It will probably push a little bit more depending on the stiffness setting. If you do only the rear bar, then you may notice the car is really tail happy. So it really won't matter. You can do either if you want, or just do both at the same time. 8VS3 RCO ball joints correct roll center, but how would one correct bump steer? Well, bump steer would mean moving your tie rod position to so ideally from the factory, your tie rods should go to your steering rack and be level with the ground or flat. But when you lower the car, right, the frame lowers, but the steering knuckle doesn't. So your tie rods end up angled somehow. Now, if you raised the car, it would look like this. But what happens is when the wheel and tire assembly moves up and down, it can create a kicking back force, an angular force back on the tie rod, which you'll feel as the steering wheel bumping or moving. With the amount that we lower the cars from the factory, this effect is pretty minimal. But unfortunately, on the Volkswagens, there's no easy way to change the tie rod position without reconfiguring the whole steering knuckle. We've looked into this. So we don't have a great solution to do it right now. But that would be, it would involve moving your tie rods down to level them out, or moving your steering rack up, which isn't going to happen.
We used to do this on some of the older cars when we worked with KW and did a specific kit for them that relocated that tie rod interface.
In the best scenario, you can just put spacers under the tie rods and move them up or down with spacers. Not an easy option on these MQB platforms.
And tough to do it safely. That's a critical part. You need to get it right.
Well, if we did it, it would be safe.
Yeah, if we did it, yeah, no, we would have to.
But right now, it's just looking like the steering knuckle would have to be reconfigured.
Yeah.
Hi guys, what is wrong with some stuff like radiators for the RS B9? You promise one ETA and every week it is later and no ETA whatsoever. I'm not sure specifically what you're referring to, but an ETA stands for estimated time of arrival. It is an estimate. It's not a guarantee. It's not a promise. So we don't promise ETAs. We cautiously give estimates on when we believe products will be available. In the case of the radiators, we don't make those here. Nobody makes radiators. No other tuning company in our industry really makes radiators. So there's a lot of supply chain disruption with tariffs and all the stuff that's going on in the world. So what happens is we get an ETA from our supplier. We pass that on to you, the customer, who's asking, because you guys would be mad if we didn't give ETAs. And then when we do give ETAs, they can change, and it's not up to us. It's not like I'm out there making a radiator. I don't control it. So all we can do is wait till our supplier finishes it and the shipping company delivers it to us. So we apologize for any disruptions. We are doing our best. It's in our absolute best interest to get you stuff quickly, as soon as possible. We do not benefit at all by dragging out delivery times for our customers. It only hurts us and creates issues. So we appreciate your patience. We are doing our best to keep almost 2,000 products in stock. And I believe our current stocking inventory level is over 90% in stock. So almost 95% of everything you see on our website is in stock and ready to ship. So we do our best. We apologize for any delays, but we would ask for a little understanding that ETAs are in fact estimates. Been running 034 Stage 2 Plus, dual throttle, dual pulley tune for over 3 years. Never had an issue besides regular faults. Keep it up.
Regular
Thanks,
faults,
guys.
the Audi life. Yeah.
Yeah, the B8.5 S4 is a tank.
Yeah.
Well, great to hear, and thank you for recognizing that there are just cars do just have issues.
So you know which you want to read this one, this other one that came through.
Any fix for B8 S4 Stage 2 Plus dual pulley running lean and popping injector O-rings?
That's a new one on me.
Wow.
No, they do not run lean, nor have I seen an injector O-ring pop because of any kind of lambda set point. Those tunes run quite a bit or they're on the rich side, if anything. I mean, we're low 8s, high 7 lambdas on most of those, depending on what fuel you're running. And no, I've never heard of an injector O-ring popping because of the lambda we are targeting. So
yeah, no, that's absolutely not true.
yeah, no, I'm not quite sure where all that's coming from. I mean, if you've got an issue, feel free to work with us. We'll go over logs and take a look and see what the health of your motor's looking like. But yeah, that's not a situation I've seen
like Nate says, we would be happy to help you run logs and verify that your car is not running lean. Injector seals do go out sometimes, so you may have had 1 or 2 of those fail. But
and if
it's not necessarily because it's running.
Yeah, if you've removed the injectors for any reason and haven't put new seals on it when reinstalling, that certainly is not generally. We haven't had a great track record.
You should always put new seals every time you
put new seals on there and make sure the actual bore the injector goes in is clean. Those can get really crusty right above the seal, and then it can kind of like just contain the grit and grime in that interface, which is a very high pressure critical interface.
Yep. But the way you've matter of fact stated that question is not true.
Yeah, no, it's not a thing.
Not with our tuning, anyways. I don't know. What's the ETA when you buy a tune the same day? Well, if you buy a tune in the morning, say on a Monday through Friday, I think very safe to say that you will receive your credentials by the end of the day. If you purchase, say, Friday afternoon, you're probably not going to get it till Monday because we are closed over the weekend, and we do strive to give our employees weekends off and evenings off and a good balance of work life for their longevity. But yeah, usually within 24 hours, in a business day, that's not a problem. If my old car got totaled, can I transfer tune to my new one? Yes, we do have a wrecked car tune transfer program, a Widest. But if your 034 tuned vehicle is totaled, there's no transfer cost to the replacement vehicle when tuned to an equal stage level. If the new tune is more expensive than the original tune, you pay the added cost only. If the new tune stage is higher than the previous stage, you only pay the difference in tuning stage costs. If the new tune is cheaper than the previous tune, it does not make them eligible for a rebate. So, you could opt for a cheaper tune, but that's something that you can do. And ultimately, tuning transfers are at our discretion. We do require adequate proof that the original vehicle is totaled. This isn't something a lot of tuning companies do. It's kind of common in the industry to make you buy another tune. But we're not about that. So if your car is in fact totaled and you in fact want to get the same car with the same tune, we're happy to help. Stage 1 MK8 GTI full torque file safe for stock clutch. We get this almost every week.
Yeah, we went in, I think, pretty good detail last week about this. But yeah, the MK8 clutch is shown to be quite capable and holding stage 1 power, no problem.
Is there any benefit to stage 3 TCU on a stage 2 ECU? Does the extra rev range do anything? Is it safe to do?
You'll probably be slower. In our testing, the stock turbos are well out of steam at that point. And if you want to go by like the meatiest of power bands you can get for maximum acceleration, that's already happened. It's back further in the rev range. So no, it was optimized with the stock turbo in mind. And yeah, you're not going to be any quicker on stage 3. That said, yeah, I mean, you could run it. It's not going to hurt anything, but there's no benefit to it.
Yeah. Had your stage 1 on my 2018 S4 and now my 21 S4. Love the everyday drivability.
Awesome.
Great to hear. That's definitely something we strive for and work hard to provide. you want to get the next one? I'm going to respond to
Which one? Let's see. Oh, maybe we can do a thinly veiled update. You guys are wild. I'm curious to what the difference is between the B9 S5 versus RS5 when it comes to anti-lag from a development standpoint. Just curious. Honestly, in a lot of these cars, not a lot different is between them. They share the exact same software for the most part at a core like functional level, like essentially the operating system of the engine controller is identical between them. The overall mapping is very, very similar. The biggest difference is one has 2-bank control, turbos and lambda and all that in the RS5. But that's literally like the only real fundamental difference. There's some generational differences. The early B9s had a different processor than some of the later B9s and the RS5, but the actual like code that lives inside the processor is, or the code that was compiled for that processor is the same. All of the stuff all of our additional features, all of our software that we write works on both. We have tools that will compile to each version of the processor that's in there, so that's not really a concern for us. So no, it's just some nuanced stuff between them, but there's not a lot of difference that goes between the two vehicles. I will, when we're doing the development, one day it'll be on an S5, some days it'll be on an RS5. It's the same. So as far as we're concerned for what we're doing, and we designed it that way so that it's not the super tightly integrated box code specific thing. We're working on these at a very high level, very I don't want to say OE like because we're coming in after the fact, but it's a well-rounded and holistic approach to it versus just kind of shimming in on these weird little functions we've done. We're actually writing software in normal C, C++ languages. It gets compiled, it gets linked up, and tied into to each version of the software as it needs to be.
Yeah. Will you guys develop an intercooler core across all your platforms that prioritizes water temps? I noticed after upgrading to a bigger intercooler that my oil water temps have significantly increased on track. Yeah, this is something that we're currently working on and quantifying. So we have done quite a bit of testing on track and off, and we're trying to, like I said, quantify this dynamic with how much airflow and thermal load does the intercooler add to the radiator system, and it's certainly it's a thing, right? I mean, especially when you're running higher boost, higher load on the turbo, the turbo's producing a lot of heat. That heat has to go somewhere. It comes out of the intercooler and it goes through the radiator. So, and all the good radiator options currently take up the whole frontal area virtually in front of the radiator. So that is something we're working on, and we will be offering some solutions to that in the future for anyone who's tracking. The thermal issues are a huge problem on these B9s. They struggle on track to lap reliably and keep the temps down. And then putting the huge intercooler in front of the radiator greatly aggravates that. Now, not to say that you should keep the stock intercooler.
That's the whole balance.
That's absolutely a non-starter.
You've still got to upgrade that intercooler for.
But we want to do something that's kind of in between, that allows good free airflow to the radiator and enough cooling for the intercooler system to keep the turbo system happy. How are we doing on time? A couple minutes. Since going to stage 3, it won't launch from launch mode anymore, yet I get 25 plus PSI boost while rolling and going wide open throttle in the 93 file. To expand in launch, motor only goes to 2800 RPM, very low boost, and launches like a Camry. I know how to launch S mode, ECS off, smash brake, then gas. Never did this on stage 2.
Not sure. We obviously do a lot of launch testing on stage 3. Are you in? I guess my first question is: are you in our support system, like through tuning at? We'll want to take a look at some logs and see what exactly is going on in there. So yeah, it sounds like sounds like you're already in support.
Yeah.
And they're working with you. So
yeah, keep working with support.
We'll sort it out.
That's the only way to do anything about this.
Yeah, our stage 3 stuff, we balance the opposite issue where we're trying not to blow the tires off on launch. So we do try and find the right mix of axle torque and loading up. So yeah. Certainly shouldn't leave like a Camry. I've never launched a Camry though, so maybe it's pretty wild.
Doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound good though.
What are your thoughts for oil thermostat removal in EA839 and opening the valve and leaving it open? The temperature is pretty stubborn when under load, especially for stage 3 tunes. There's a follow-up that said, well, anyways, the thermostat removal does make a huge difference.
Normally on street cars, you need the thermostat in there to get everything up to operating temp. If it's just a track-only thing and you're monitoring things like this, then it's not uncommon. I'd say in a lot of race cars to remove a thermostat like that.
For a race car, yeah, on a street car, you definitely want that. Otherwise, you're gonna have a hard time getting heat in the car, and you will have a hard time getting the car warmed up, which can actually be really bad for your motor if you're driving on cold, thick oil. Friction and wear in the motor is a big problem if you don't get your oil up to temp quickly. So we have not done that, but we do control the thermostat, right? And we can,
there are different targets we can set, for some of the thermal stuff. I think the oil is a physical though. We've got cooling mods, cooling controls we can do.
Yeah. Any consideration on buying a previously tuned car? Is it something to be cautious of? It's really hard to say.
It's so hard to know.
Tuning a car is not necessarily bad for it. You could do a lot of damage to a car just by not maintaining it properly.
Yeah.
So I would say the bigger concern is what car you're going to buy, has it been maintained? If it's been maintained well, then the tuning won't have any negative effect on the car. There's something to think about of, does the car have the right tune and tuning modifications that you'd like? I mean, there's more than just ECU tuning, the suspension modifications, and the rest of the things that are done to the car. Is that something that you want? If the car has been put on a really low stiff suspension, it will make the car creakier and more rattly. The car will start falling apart slowly. That's why we're not proponents of putting really stiff, low suspensions in where the struts are constantly bottoming out when you hit bumps and things like that. So something you want to keep in mind. I know there's lots of people out there who like buying stock cars before they start a project, but if you want to build a stage 3 B9 S4, buying one's going to be the best deal around, because you're not going to have to pay nearly as much for those parts. And if the parts were installed properly and the car was maintained properly, then you're getting a good deal.
Yep. And also keep that in mind when you're modding. It's generally not for a resale value on the car.
No. Yeah, you gotta enjoy it.
It's to go enjoy.
Get your fun out of it. Okay, we're almost out of time. What should we jump on?
Just put an S4. What is a good modification to make it louder? I'm assuming it's a B9. I think I saw some follow-up on his comments.
Is it? Okay. If it's a B9 S4, we have our ResX products for that. So we have the ResX downpipes, we have the ResX X pipe, and you can even go stage 2 stage 2 level racing cat. All those are going to make the car louder. You don't need to go buy a full exhaust system to make your car louder and sound better. So you can combine any and all those products. The more you add, the louder the car is going to get. I'll say the feedback we get from just our front pipe, down pipe Resex is very positive. Everybody loves those. Okay, I think we're out of time, huh?
Yep. Hit it. We still got a couple questions there, but we couldn't get to. But
yeah,
thank you guys.
Thank you for joining us once again. Appreciate it, and I think we'll see you guys next week, same time. Cheers.